What is going on, Wastelanders? It is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer, here with another Fallout 4 video. So this video is going to be about how Fallout 4, unlike Fallout 3, is not getting banned in Australia, and the game is going to be rated MA15+ instead of R18+.
Yes! Yes!
Now, the article that I'm talking off of, as always, is linked in the description below, but I want to be highlighting the main points. So the article states that Fallout 4 has now been rated with an MA15+ rating over in the country of Australia, which is where I live, by the way. The official classification board for Australia has now rated Fallout 4 on its website. The main content descriptor is that it includes strong violence. It has moderate impact themes, language, drug use, and sex. There is no nudity in the game. It has strong impact violence as stated above. However, there is no high impact for any of these descriptors. Some Australians are scared the game has an MA15+ rating instead of an R18+ rating. They feel there is a chance that the game could be censored for them. This is because Fallout 3, which is what I mentioned before, was censored in some parts when it came out back in 2008. The classification website did state they rated the original version of Fallout 4. This could be a hint that Australians are getting the proper version being released worldwide. It looks like they won't be getting a censored version like before. So first of all, this article is a little bit inaccurate. It wasn't the case in Fallout 3 that we got a censored version. What happened with Fallout 3 is that the game was initially banned in Australia because drug use in the game was incentivized using quote-unquote real-world drugs. So the case was that Med-X used to be called morphine. And because when you took Med-X or morphine, it gives you certain in-game bonuses, the fact that it was called morphine crossed the threshold between, fantasy fiction and real life or real-world drugs, which is why the Australian Classification Board had banned it for distribution and sale in Australia. However, what happened is that Bethesda said, alrighty, we're simply going to be renaming morphine to Med-X. They also called them chems instead, and then those changes actually reciprocated for all versions of Fallout 3, no matter where the game was released in the world. So it was not just the case that Australia was getting a specific version of Fallout 3. Every single global version of Fallout 3 was changed because of the action of the Australian Classification Board. So suffice it to say is that I'm glad, one, that Fallout 4 is not getting banned again in Australia this time, and two, it's getting an MA15+ rating instead of an R18+ rating, because I've been a bit skeptical of the board's approach with regards to rating video games, and it seemed that a lot of R18+ ratings were just given out left, right, and center. So I'm glad in the sense that Fallout 4 is not receiving such a high rating, just because of the guidelines that the Australian Classification Board are implementing. They're so strict and they're so strenuous in their application. The threshold can be very, very low in terms of what games are classified as R18+. That might be a bit of a concern for people thinking, well, Fallout might not be the violent, gory, explicit or adult content game that we thought it might be. But at the very least, what I'm saying is that this is a game that, in Australia at least, from the age of 15 and above, you're going to be able to purchase this game and you're going to be able to enjoy it. It's not just going to be cut off to those above the age of 18, even though that, those under the age of 18, if that were the case, would still be able to purchase the game via other means, but that's beside the point. But what I wanted to do was look at the actual Australian Classification Board. I've linked the government website in the description below if you want to have a look at it yourself, but I have shown the main picture on screen right now. So again, Fallout 4 multi-platform, Xbox One, PC, and PS4. The classification is MA15+, which I believe is going to be equivalent to the mature 17+ rating that the ESRB actually implements. And consumer advice is that it has strong violence. Obviously, we know that's the case. It's a Fallout game. It's a computer game. Again, the version is original. So it seems that, the Australian Classification Board has reviewed the original copy of Fallout 4. It was not a dumbed down version purely for Australian audiences and just to get it past the Australian classification system. It seems that this is the pure base vanilla version of the game and that there is no cut content of any kind. It doesn't say what the duration is, and if it did, it'd be hundreds of hours. It was classified on the 25th of August 2015, which is yesterday my time, as of this recording. Obviously, the author is Bethesda Game Studios, published by ZeniMax Europe Limited. The production company is not shown, company of origins USA. Applicant again is ZeniMax Europe Limited. And some other random numbers there. And then you have this matrix here which shows the impact ratings according to different categories. So according to themes, language, drug use, and sex, Fallout 4 has a moderate impact rating. It does not have any nudity, and then with violence it has a strong impact rating. Now we know that this game is going to have sexual references because you're able to romance your companions in the game, whether male or female, so we knew that that was the case. Drug use is obviously there, which is a moderate impact because we're going to be using chems in the game, like your med-X, etc. Obviously there's going to be coarse language. That's another atypical characteristic of a Fallout game. The themes are going to have a moderate impact, and violence, strong impact. And again, we've seen this, we've seen in the gameplay is that you shoot off a ghoul's limb and the blood splurts everywhere and the ghoul is still alive. And the game is gory, but it's obviously not a high impact because the violence is still a bit stylized. It's not realistic violence that you might see in an Australian R18 rated game, but at the very least we are still getting strong violence in Fallout 4, which is great to hear. But above all, I'm just glad that this game is not going to be banned in Australia. I'm glad that there aren't going to be any hoops that Bethesda or ZeniMax is going to have to jump over to try and get this game to be sold and distributed in Australia, because I don't want to have to pirate the game or anything like that. I've purchased 2 copies of Fallout 4, and I just want to be able to play them with no problems and have them be the exact same versions as every other country in the world. I think that's above all what I want. I don't want discrepancies between Australian versions of Fallout 4 and global versions of Fallout 4. I hate that kind of segregation just because of classification laws. I think everybody should be able to enjoy this game in its full form with no cut content or with no altered content. So that is great to hear. I would love to hear what you think about this topic, Wastelanders. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, please follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links to those pages are in the description below. And before I end this video, I want to give a big shout out to @KikiWonka on Twitter. He was the one that drew my absolutely awesome new channel icon and Lone Vault Wanderer character that I'm just absolutely in love with. I've put it on my Twitter, I put it on my Twitch, and obviously it's on YouTube now. I think he did an absolutely fantastic job. So the link to his Twitter is in the description below. Please give him thanks on my behalf. He really does deserve it. I've also put his Twitter link in the About section of my YouTube channel, obviously because I'm using his picture, it's his creation, and I want to give as much props to him as I can. So until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.